Full and uncut versions available on Patreon. Check in the description below.
Greetings once again, pirates on the high seas. Duuz-Diz-Din back again with more One Piece. It's been a hot minute, but this is essentially downtime for me. It's, while I don't hate any of the other series that I'm checking out currently, One Piece is my stress reliever. That thing that I would, talk about on the internet even if I weren't getting paid for, which essentially I won't. I don't expect many views on this, but this is for me. And a few of my friends too. So, I'm back. I'm finally back with One Piece. Now, like I said before, other series will still be going on, but, priorities, and this is me making me a priority, as selfish as that might seem. So what happened previously? Well, the Straw Hat Pirates, or at least half of them as per usual, were seemingly abducted and placed in a Lego-like castle, or at least a diorama of a castle, someplace that is said to be ruled over by the sun god? Do people know that Luffy is here or something? And of course we get to Elbaph and then I take a long hiatus. But they seem to be atop what giants around the place called the Yggdrasil tree. Nami and Usopp go running throughout the castle, called Big Stein Castle, coming across all manner of horrors, including a large monster cat able to transform into a lion, only for them to be rescued by Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji. What's going on? Join me as I find out, won't you? Alright. Color cover page of all the Straw Hats in essentially what is like a Harry Potter-esque kind of looking world, complete with dragon, gotta love it. I feel that any story that would be One Piece inspired like this would come off mostly like Mashal. It would be Luffy just punching things instead of actually using magic. But I love Jinbei and Zoro just chilling on the dragon, Chopper and Brook going for a wild ride, leave it to Luffy to not fly in any form of conformatory way, Usopp hanging on for dear life from Sanji's broom, as Sanji is very obviously probably trying to look up Robin's skirt, Robin riding side saddle, and Nami riding. You would think she'd be riding on the back, but she's riding on like the handlebars like a little sister on Frankie's broom, which is of course tricked out. You can always tell the Straw Hat's personality from the way they do things. Gotta love it. Alright, we pick up with Sanji holding Nami as he looks around the area saying, "This can't be a dream. There wouldn't be any men in it." Of course. As Nami, being held by him, questions, "What kind of dreams are you having?" Sanji then takes off saying, "Here goes Nami. Time to jump." And as they jump from the top high up on the Lego-like castle, I think it's maybe Usopp saying down below, "Look out, it's crumbling again!" Zoro says, "I woke up on the other side of that town. I walked toward all the noise to find him finishing off this huge rabbit." Luffy says, "You could have beaten that cat lion, Usopp." Usopp says, "It woke me up by eating me. I was freaking out." See, I love that Luffy actually is just like, "Usopp, you're strong enough to have beaten that thing." Like, come on, buddy. But Usopp's panic always overrides his sense of actual skill. Oh, this is One Piece chapter 1128. RPG. Ooh. I mean, we've had plenty of One Piece RPGs up until this point, so, but I would love to have them in these outfits. I can't wait to see these in color, which should already be out. I'm very behind. Usopp in his big old puffy FC Hammer pants. Usopp says, "So here's what I think. In my view, these are Elbaph warrior clothes that we've been dressed in. There's no way that Elbaph, the land of giants, would have clothes our size." Yeah, that does raise a lot of questions. Specifically, who undressed you? Nami looks around saying, "So are you saying this is Elbaph, but we've been turned into giants? I mean, this can't be real," she says as she touches the architecture. Zoro says, "I think there were people in town. We gotta ask around to get to the bottom of this. Look how huge it is. We'll never reach the sea at this rate." Luffy peeks out saying, "You're right. Let's go into town." Sanji then says, "If others from the crew are here, it's probably not all of them. Usopp questions, how can you tell? Sanji says, Robin's not turning up on the me radar. Me radar? Yeah, he sniffs the air. I swear, Sanji, come on. It's like how he found Bonnie before, saying it's girl radar. Nami questions, you're a dog now? He's always been a dog. Always looking for a bug. Luffy calls out, okay, let's go and ask for help. Adventure! Usopp says, woo! I think it's Nami who says, why are you so excited about this? Have you not noticed how freaky this place is? Zoro says, we're out in the wide open and there isn't even any breeze. No breeze, despite how high up they should be? That's weird. Well, Sanji says, oh, cheer up, Nami, you've still got me. Sanji. Oh, dude, got a grasshopper cycle. That's something Frankie would make. As they spot the figure moving towards them, or hopping towards them, Zoro says, huh? Sanji says, something's coming. Usopp says, huh? I think it's Nami who says, huh? What? Ew! I think it might be Usopp who says, gah, gross. But Luffy says, wow, that's so cool. It's a grasshopper. And the man on the grasshopper says, easy. You guys new around here? And both, oh, right. Sanji doesn't like bugs either. I always forget about that. Both Nami and Sanji back up, saying, no bugs. I think it's Luffy who says, who are you, man? Where are we? You seen our crew? The man says, that's a lot of questions. Sorry, I'm in a hurry. No time to sit around and talk. But I can tell you this. All of this vast land you see belongs to the sun god. Huh, okay, so it's not Luffy they're talking about. Luffy says, God? The man says, I serve the ruler of Big Stein Castle, Master Iscat. Iscat? The cat they just beat up? Luffy says, huh? There's a person at that castle? The man says, no, it's a cat. Luffy says, oh, sorry, actually but Usopp shuts him up. The man says, you might call this the land of the gods. I should be leaving now. I'm sure the needle god hedgehog is looking for its food. Nami remains silent because she shocked the bejesus out of that one. The man that says, I'm running a bit late to feed it because the ear god, a giant rabbit, was found burned to death near the town. If you're hungry, you should go into town to get your fodder. Fodder? All of them are looking nervously away. The man that says, and let me warn you, you must never venture in the other direction from the castle. Luffy questions, huh? Why not? The man says, the sun god's temple is there, guarded by vicious soldiers. None have ever approached the temple and returned alive to speak of it. Nami says, oh no, don't say it like, oh, because, yep, that immediately got Luffy's attention. He says, and much to the man's shock, Luffy takes off with an angry Nami, Usopp, and Sanji shouting, get back here! Usopp says, hey man, thanks for all the advice. And then Nami says, oh, and he gives a little cutesy smile saying, sorry for everything. The man blushes, and as they take off, Zoro gives a devilish smile saying, this is soldiers, eh? The man questions this as they take off, Sanji saying, Luffy acts that way because he feeds off your energy. You should be ashamed. The man then looks to the sides, saying, huh? Rubble? Looking at the pieces of the castle that fell off. As Luffy just continues to take off, he says, I smell adventure. Vicious soldiers, gods. Usopp shouts, wait, Luffy. Nami says, or is it Zoro? It's hard to say. There's so much space. They say, there's no homes around here. How long does this path go for? Is it just me or does that castle look just like the other? Oh, someone's running toward... Oh, is it a mirror? Luffy says, someone's running this way. He's wearing Elbaph clothes too. Whatever, I'll just dodge and run past him. And he hits himself. Or a reflection of himself. Oh, what the heck? Okay, when I said like a Lego diorama, it's a literal diorama. What the heck? Yeah, Luffy shatters the wall he runs into. The others say, what the sky just cracked. Zoro says, what just happened? The others say, huh? As Luffy has pretty much laid himself out. The people in town say, look, the sky is splitting over by the temple, but also the other side. What's happening here? The kingdom is in chaos today. Oh, so wait, are these not giants? It's all one big diorama Lego set. As they peer out of the crack Luffy made, they say, huh? Sanji says, so wait. Nami says, what does this mean? This is clearly a giant-sized room. Zoro says, we're not inside the Elbaph ship, right? Usopp says, yeah, they had no cabins like this one. What's this netting? Sanji says, if there are giants on the other side, then we're nothing but pets in an enormous cage. Someone says, oh no. A voice calls out, hey, what was that noise? Are you on my side? Please, come and save me. Another person says, oh, Chopper. The heck? Chopper says, I'm so happy to see you guys. Nami cuddles Chopper, saying, oh, poor Chopper, you're safe now. Chopper says that I couldn't get the collar off because the metal was too hard, and I was gonna die. Was it sea prism stone? Zoro says, so these are human-sized clothes in a giant's room. Are they supposed to be like doll's clothes? And though Nami says, Chopper, now you owe me one. Chopper says, huh? Usopp says, hey, you were crying at the start too. Usopp looks at the clothes saying, look at these though. Is this sun god a super delicate artisan or what? As Luffy examines the stuff on the floor, he says it's all blocks. Sanji says, yeah, that's what the kingdom was made out of when we roasted that rabbit. The nasty smell it made. Oh, burning plastic. Sanji lights up a cigarette saying, had to be from the synthetic resin burning along with it. Just look at that. The edges were mirrors that made the scenery seem to go on forever. They look back in, so it's like a one-way mirror. Wow. Usopp says, oh, it's see-through. Sanji says, from this side. It just looks like glass. What is it, some kind of magic mirror? Oh, so they don't regularly have one-way mirrors in their world. Interesting. Sanji says, Nami, I called dibs on the next shift cleaning the women's Oh, come on, Sanji. She promptly kicks him in the face, saying, don't you dare try to install those. Zoro then says, so basically some giant with poor taste decided to build a kingdom of blocks and toss a bunch of humans and animals in to see what happened. Usopp says, yeah, it's creepy. But does that mean we're already in Elbaph? Giant's house inside the land of giants? Luffy cheers, saying, ooh, we're here already? All right. Nami then says, but we don't know that for certain. All we know is that a giant did this. Chopper says, we need to get outside to be sure. Where's everyone else? Let's get out before the giants come back. Usopp says, we should go back to town to ask for info just in case. This person might be a weirdo, but we want to avoid friction with the giants if at all possible. Got that, Luffy? Don't. And he's all, a giant snake. And Luffy's fighting it, saying, okay, but can I at least beat this one up? Nami and Chopper freak out as Usopp says, destroy it! Oh, and then there's mice down below. Nami sees them saying, down there, mice. Sanji says, and a raven overhead. Are these the temple soldiers? What about this place looks temple-ish to you? If you've already eaten a rabbit, then you might as well walk these other animals. Okay, is this the sun god guy? He's walking down the halls. He hears a bit of a commotion. A voice calls out, not playing around, you guys. Let's finish it off. If the sun god comes back now, then smoke starts coming out from underneath the door. The person in the skeletal mask starts to panic. The voice calls out, that's too much, Luffy. I wasn't one. Luffy says, I wasn't the one who spread the fire from the hearth. The person walks in saying, what? My sacred temple! Luffy is already gone into sun god form. Okay. Gear 4. Alright, 5th gear. Usopp panics, saying, look out, Luffy. The sun god's back. We gotta run. I think the raven is taken out by Zoro, I think? And the sun god says, Mugen! Okay, so kind of like the crows from Norse mythology. Luffy winds up saying, Gum Gum? Dawn Pistol! And knocks out the snake with a punch. The sun god shouts, Hilmungander. Hilmungarder? Huh, interesting. Luffy laughs as the others shout, hurry, Luffy. That giant seems especially huge, and it looks creepy. But then Zoro seems to notice something. Oh, it's the cat they took out before. The cat tries to growl at them, but someone bonks it on the head. Next thing you know, they're riding on it. Chopper says, it's saying, I'll get you for this. The cat meows angrily. Nami says, duly noted. Anyway, look at this. She pulls out a piece of paper saying, I didn't find anything worth money, but... Usopp says, huh? And Luffy looks over. Sanji says, are those the planets in the Block Kingdom? Chopper says, meaning a map. Zoro says, here he comes. as the sun god bears down on them, saying, "How dare you bring ruin upon my kingdom?" The Straw Hats shout, "Hold on tight, folks. If we run straight, we should hit another mirror." I think that's Nami. "Break through that and the wall behind it, and we'll be outside." I think that's Usopp. Chopper says, "Yes, time to escape." Meanwhile, the townspeople seeing the sun god panic, saying, "Oh no, the sun god is in a divine fury." While the sun god says, "You shall not escape." End of chapter. But I have so many chapters to go. On to the next one. Alright. It's One Piece chapter 1129, Live Dolls. We pick back up with Ogre Child Yamato's Golden Harvest Surrogate Pilgrimage Volume 16, Ninja Training at Amagasa Village. So Yamato's on top of Komochio watching Shinobu, who's now plump again, give Otama, Otama. I'm like, it's like, Otoko? No, she's the one whose name sounds like a dude. It's Otama, training to be a bewitching Konoichi. Aw, Shinobu, how'd you gain all that weight back again? Then again, being older is harder to keep off weight, so I guess that makes a bit of sense. The captive townspeople shout, "Master Sun God, please quell your anger. Look over there, flames through the cracks in the sky. The kingdom is doomed, the world is ending." The Sun God shouts, "You live dolls will pay for what you did to my temple." Oh, he's a nerd. He's some nerd just playing with toys. It makes sense for a giant. So probably he's just been scooping up random people as time has gone on. And then he says, "And to my pets, I mean to my servants." Nami says, "Why is that guy so freaky?" Trevor says, "God, he looks more like a demon." Usopp shouts, "The town, look out for the slope." Luffy says, "So this is all made out of blocks, huh?" He tells the cat, "Jump, cat." The cat jumps over the town. The people say, "Ah, Lord Iskat." Luffy chuckles, "Hey, if we put in all the work to build this, we gotta split without busting it up." If he put in all the work to build this, only for the cat to land destroying several buildings. Luffy saying, "What did I just say, cat?" The sun god follows, saying, "Wait, Iskat. Why are you helping them?" The cat meows. Well, Usopp says, "Hitching a ride on this cat took us to the end of the world in no time." Luffy says, "Huh? No, it keeps going and going." Nami tosses the map, I think. As Usopp says, "I told you, just look at the schematics for this cut." Then, Nami tosses it. Usopp says, "Hey!" Nami says, "Don't worry, I memorized it." Usopp says, "Whoa!" Nami points to the distance, saying, "Look over there, Luffy. You can see the mirror door from earlier." Luffy says, "Oh, you're right." Nami then says, "And on second look, the clouds are just cotton fluff hanging from the ceiling." Oh. Zoro says, "It might look huge, but to a giant, it's just a regular old room." Chopper says, "Exactly." Sanji says, "No, and because all the walls are mirrors, no wonder the series seems to go on forever." Nami says, "So we'll reach the end in no time. We just have to keep going straight." We see the diagram. Oh yeah, so this just takes up a whole half of a room, which would be huge to any normal people. Nami says, "We'll reach the end in no time. We just have to keep going straight. We're already halfway across the so-called kingdom." Oh, his little staff is just a net. The sun god goes to capture them, saying, "I see, so you have seen the schematic. Now imagine you have figured out this world, have you? Yeah, this was originally a holding cell for giants." Oh, holding cell? As he swings his net, Zoro says, "A net?" Sanji says, "Is it just me, or is he talking a bit like a samurai?" Really? The sun god captures them in the net, saying it was built to prevent giants from escaping. It matters not if you reach the wall, for you will never break it through it. There is only a dead end. As each cat is captured, Luffy shouts at it, saying, "Come on, cat, you're supposed to dodge that." The cat meows. While the townspeople watching on say, "What happened to Lord Iskat? Who's that riding on him?" Zoro says, "Just keep," and Sanji says, finishes saying, "moving," as he activates his, is it Diablo Jambe or is it Ifra Jambe? I'm not sure which one he uses more often now, but they break free of the net, and the cat jumps out. The sun god says, "They broke through the metal wire?" Oh, it was metal wiring on the net too, dang. No matter, the cruel and the violent ear god awaits them ahead. Then the townspeople call out, "Oh, mighty sun god, we have some bad news about the ear god." He listens in, questioning this, as they point to a collection of bones, saying, "It was mysteriously burned to death earlier today. The sight was heartbreaking and more than a little ominous. As before, bizarre cracks appeared in the sky. is an accursed day. Sun God thinks to himself, they defeated it? Impossible. That was a vicious carnivorous rabbit. Oh, like the one in Monty Python. My gullet bunny. Gullet bunny, huh? He takes this in as the townspeople say, we just found it like that. But then the sun god laughs. Lovely. Wonderful. Townspeople are shocked as the sun god tells them, this too is how the world works. A story without a script unfolding in my little walled garden. Underestimated them. They are most exciting after all. Now the world I created has developed its own evil and its own heroes. He is a theater kid, he calls out. History is being written before my eye. This is the charm of my little live dolls. The mini world that belongs only to me. The townspeople then whisper to each other, this might be our only chance. The way out is open to us. Let's flee while we can. Tell all the others. Oh, so were they aware of the world that they lived in? Were they just playing along? As the sun god continues to laugh, Luffy watches from the fleeing cat, questioning, what's he laughing about? The sun god then says, now dance and struggle in my palm. Haruden may accept you, but I do not. So what is your move? Oh, interesting. Someone who's against what? The fact that Haruden likes Luffy, so he knows who he's dealing with. Interesting. So this is all one big test. Someone who doesn't think of non-giants as anything more than mere playthings. So kind of like Arlong, but to a lesser degree. I mean, who knows? He might just be out killing him. You don't really know what this guy really looks like. Usopp pulls out a slingshot using special attack Green Star. Skull Blast Grass. Gee, that is a massive explosion. He's even larger than the giant. God damn, Usopp, I didn't know the explosion was that big. Okay, it cracks open the mirror, but there's brick behind it. Usopp says, no good. It only broke the mirror. That wall is really tough. Luffy cracks his knuckles saying, okay, I got this one. But the sun god still laughs. Good, yes. This pleases me. Helpless dolls fighting back against fate. Best story ever. Part of the world is despair and hopelessness, and part of history is defeat and disappointment. The tragic folly of the weak, and yet so brave. A real tearjerker. I'm so glad to have you in my collection. Ultra rare Luffy, ultra rare Zoro, ultra rare Nami, ultra rare Usopp. The Straw Hats are shocked. Nami questioning, wait, how does he know who we are? And he just continues on, ultra rare Sanji, ultra rare Chopper. Chopper questions, what does he mean ultra rare? But Luffy, oh, I thought it was Gear 3rd, but he can now partially go Gear 4? Because Luffy winds back up his arm, hockeys it up, inflates it, saying, time to bust open a hole. Mini Gear 4. Holy crap, that's cool. But Nami seems happy, saying, hey Usopp, natural disasters aren't anyone's fault, right? Usopp turns to her, questioning, I mean, sure, earthquakes, floods, lightning, you can't blame those on anybody. Then Nami looks pissed, saying, well, I think we've been through plenty of enough terror for one day. I'm sick of this guy. Usopp says, I get it, but we don't want to anger the giants. Well, then Sanji says, I know how you feel, Nami. I feel that same rage toward this shark. I just can't get the thought out of my mind of him changing your clothes. Yeah, right? I won't rest until I crush him to bits with my foot. Usopp says, you mustn't do that, Sanji. And someone says, I wouldn't worry, though. He'll get his divine retribution. They question this as, oh, wait. Oh, this is the dude from... Okay, that's how he knows Haruden. It's the one dude who was part of his ship. Wait, what's his name? And way to kind of give away the surprise, though. Yeah, Road. I didn't think he was some kind of scene theater kid. He flashes back to when his crow Mugen brought him the Sunny. He called out, Mugen, what have you brought me this time? The crow sets down the Sunny. And Road freaks out, saying, what? This is the Straw Hat crew. The crow questions, call? Road says, the giant pirates were sailing out to escort them back. Don't they realize what happened? They seem very deep asleep. Did they pass through the sleeping mist on the route to Egghead? Road then remembers talking to Haruden, saying, are you insane? And Haruden saying, not at all. When Road had all the Straw Hats, he said, when I heard that Hajrudin? Huh. The way it's said isn't what I would think the way that it's spelled is. Huh. When Hardin had cast aside his dignity and became his henchman, I was furious. See, that's interesting. Because I did kind of question, because a lot of the other giants didn't actually experience what Hardin had been through. Fred says, does that make me a member of the new giant pirates, a henchman too? An almighty warrior of Elbaph, subservient to some tiny human? Has he no pride? Just look at this tiny frail figure. But Nami here, he's my Oshi. Oh, yeah. That makes it even worse that he changed her clothes. And the moment they started to wake up, he doused them with sleeping gas and thinking to himself, I need you to go back to sleep. And when you wake up again, in present day, he continues to stalk towards them, saying, you'll simply go missing to the rest of the world. Instead, you'll be stuck in here with me, struggling to get free. I will not serve you, you will serve me. Dang. Okay, that might even explain why, as I remember during Egghead, when we saw the giants fishing the books out of the water, I don't think Road was there. I can't quite remember if Road was amongst the giants who were fishing the stuff out of the water. He then says, Looking up, he says, what is that? I never made that. And he sees a massive lightning cloud overhead. Nami calls out through a climber attack, are you ready, Zeus? Zeus says, I'm positively crackling, Nami. Nami says, take it away. And much to Road's shock, Zeus comes down with a lightning blast, utterly electrifying him. The townspeople saying, what? The sun god! While Luffy continues to enlarge his fist, my god, saying, I hate to leave, but we gotta go. So long, Kingdom of Blocks. Gum gum, Kongon! And he breaks through. Zoro saying, outside at last. Shanti says, take that, giant perv. Usopp starts praying, please let it be Elbaph outside. Nami recalls Zeus, and as they break through, they shout, we're outside! Yeah! Alright, finally, Elbaph proper this time. I do like the thought that there are some giants, or just even any part of any of the first generation, or I guess Luffy's Straw Hat Grand Fleet, who aren't quite digging the idea of being under him. Even if he is seen as this great pirate, there might be some who are just like, no, you were supposed to be the great pirate. It was one thing when I was following you, but now you're following someone else? Like, no, that's a little bit more personality to things, Alright, now, One Piece chapter 1130. The Accursed Prince. Is that what Road calls himself? And on the cover we have Ogre Child Yamato's Golden Harvest Surrogate Pilgrimage Volume 17. Sword got stolen during nap time. Okay. While Yamato is napping with Tama, someone takes the sword. They were supposed to, was it leave at the grave for Yasue? I can't remember now. Someone just going around snatching up stuff. Okay. Meanwhile, aboard the giant warrior pirate ship, Frankie calls out, listen up, warriors of Elbaph, the search is over! Dory and Brogy shout, what? Frankie says, to make a long story short, we searched and searched and we didn't find nothing, but we know they're alive. They're alive and well, so thanks for trying so hard to find them for us. It really warms my heart. Robin says, yes. Let's wait for them in Elbaph. We're all headed for the same place. Jinbei says, indeed. My shark network didn't turn up anything either. We're just grateful that you went to such lengths to search. Brooke says, plus we're out of food. No point to any of this if you all starve in the process, which actually is a good point. And I think they're just kind of betting that, knowing Luffy, he somehow made it to Elbaph. Brogy says, I see. Well, if their own crew says so, they're fine. Let's seal it. Steer us back to Elbaph, boys. Brah! Let's toast to our safe return. We're out of food and drink, Captain. Oh, God. It's so carefree. Meanwhile, as they break out, the Straw Hat Pirates escape out into the cold of Elbaph. Luffy says, it's huge. Look at this tree. How many thousands of years old is it? Are they all like this? So big. Is that a mountain? It's freezing. Look how long this rope bridge is. Yeah, Nami is not dressed for this. Nami says, wait a minute. It's so vast, I feel like I'm getting dizzy just looking at it. So this is, hide. There are giants coming down the bridge. Oh, it's Gerd and Goldberg, members of the new giant warrior pirates. New Giant Warrior Pirates Doctor, Gerd, and New Giant Pirates Cook, Goldberg. Gerd says, why did Harden have to bring that weirdo onto the crew? Goldberg says, oh, that's because he's a good navigator. Gerd says, well, I hate him. Look, he's not the shame of Elbaph, it's him. Ooh, dang. Harsh. Goldberg says, yeah. That's only going to make Road happier. Oh, yeah. He likes criticism, does he? Gerd says, you saw it, didn't you, Piper? His crow was carrying a little boat in its mouth. Oh, the owl is named Piper. It nods. Goldberg laughs. Intruders should have to be caught, of course. The rogue creates intruders all on his own. Yeah. Now we see them hiding behind one of the poles of a tree. Nami whispers, hi, Luffy. But Luffy goes to walk out saying, they seem nice. And I says, no, stop. Gerd says, I'm going to find them and tell Chief Jarul about this. Okay, Jarul's still alive. Usopp's sister cries saying, did you hear that, people? They said the name Elbaph. We've got to be there. Sanji starts to freak out saying, I didn't know there were giants so beautiful. Luffy tries to call out, hey, you guys, we're... But Nami stops him saying, idiot, they said intruders get caught. Gerd and Goldberg turn. Gerd says, did I imagine that? Goldberg says, I think so. They start to knock on the castle door saying, Road, you in there? And then make their way across the massive rope bridge. Oh, there's wolves in the forest looking to gobble them up at a second notice. As they cross, they say, whoa, it shakes a lot. It's so long. Zoro says, gotta hurry. If those giants come back, there's nowhere to hide. Luffy just looks off into the distance. I think it's Nami who says, a giant-sized bridge means every step is a pit to avoid. Sanji says, don't worry, Nami. We used to balance on ropes all the time. I'm good at this. Oh, no, that's Chopper who says that. Which, yeah, no, this is Chopper in his element for once. Oh, Usopp is freaking out saying, it's a trial fit for a brave warrior. I'm not sure who says it, but someone says the forest below is packed with giant wolves. Zoro then says, what's up, Luffy? Luffy says, can you feel that too? Something's tingling. Ew? Sanji says, well, I'm not going. Zoro says, then I'll... But Sanji grabs him by his collar saying, and neither are you. You're not setting foot in any forest in the entire world, right? Never gonna see him again. Luffy says, it's whoever I heard roaring. Back in the Block Kingdom, I think. Roaring. Luffy jumps off the bridge saying, you guys keep going across the bridge. I think it's Usopp who calls out, what? Nami says, what are you doing, Luffy? Usopp's still clinging to the bridge saying, be brave, Usopp. While Chopper calls out, where are you going? There's all wolves down there. But they can only hear the wind now. What did he sense? Oh, the propaganda of the world news. As we pick up on the giant warrior pirate ship, they say, what does it say? We attacked Egghead? Yes, that was in the morning paper. But would they lie about us? Brogy says, it's too tiny to see. Robin says, I'll read it for you. The giant pirate crew return after a century of slumber. With Emperor Straw Hat Luffy, they set the seas across Egghead aflame. The captains of the giant pirates crew, Brogy the Red Ogre and Dory the Blue Ogre, are each worthy of a bounty of 1.8 billion berries. They both say, we have bounties? Did they not know about their previous bounties, I wonder? Actually, maybe not. All things considered, I think their original bounties were just kind of incidental. What were their bounties before? Hold on. Yeah, it was only like 100 million each. And now it's 1.8 billion. Oh, God. That's a hell of a jump. And their original wanted poster, they were just on the same poster. God damn. That is a hell of a jump. But that fits them a little bit more, especially now that we know how capable they really are. Brogy says, 1.8 billion? Tori says, I didn't think we were back in action. Their crewmates say, you were each at 100 million back in the day, right? That's a big jump, right? That's what I'm saying. Robin says, of course, inflation means the currency value has changed a lot in 100 years. Actually, that's a good point, too. Inflation. Well, actually, going off of inflation, that's cool. Oh, does Luffy have the X still on his arm? I didn't think so, huh? Robin says, that seems appropriate for an Elbaph warrior chieftain now. Meanwhile, our captain is the culprit who murdered Vegapunk. They say, what? Frankie says, another masterclass in lies and distortion. You'd think his bounty would go up a little from that, too. Oh, hey, Lilith. Oh, he killed me, did he? That's actually hilarious. They're just laughing at that. Frankie says, shut up. You know he was protecting you to the end. Brooke says, when was this picture taken? Jinbei says, at some point, an egghead, I'm sure. World Economic Journal has people everywhere. They'll pay good money for photographs. Yeah, who knows who could have taken a picture. Okay, so they're focusing in on it too. The X on his arm. What the heck is that about? Oh, but none of the other Straw Hats would know about the X. Is it Vivi trying to get a message out? Yeah, Robin says, when Luffy turns into his free form, does this mark appear on his arm? Does it? The others say, does it? He's usually moving around so much I've never gotten a good look. Seems unnatural to me. His hand is blurred, but the mark is crystal clear. Frankie says, strange detail to focus on. Robin says, just seems familiar to me. And I think I'm not sure who says it seems familiar to me, but the others, I think it's Robin who ponders it. While Dory says, amazing to think that Straw Hat considered equals with red hair now. Frankie says, we had this youngster named Harden on our crew, and here he's your follower now. I think it's Kashin who says, he's the son of a king too, was a real tempestuous brat, though. Son of a king? Wait, is he the prince? Wait, no, the prince of Elbaph is Loki, unless he's the brother of Loki? He didn't seem princely when we saw him in Big Mom's flashback, though. How weird. Frankie says, he was he? Another giant says, they wanted to come to get you too, but in the end it was only us old-timers. He was a bit of trouble back in Elbaph. Frankie questions, trouble? The giant explains, it happened while the captives were away. You see, in Elbaph, the king had another official child known as the Accursed Prince. Oh, he committed all manner of evil acts and was sentenced to crucifixion a few years back, and nearly escaped his punishment. It took all of our warriors to get him under control. Oh, are they talking about Loki? Frankie says, all the giant warriors of Elbaph together. Jinbei questions, would his name happen to be? The giant says, yeah, he's got a few screws loose. Despite the desire for a legendary dough fruit passed down through the Elbaph royal line, led him to kill his father, King Harold, and eat the fruit. The next time that Loki the Accursed Prince is unleashed, the world will be brought to ruin. He is the shame of Elbaph. Oh, gee, man. Shit, I thought I was in a bad spot after I got rejected by a girl. Dang, Loki, what the hell? Okay, I'm even more interested to see this Loki do. I've forgotten all about him up till now. But, Loki and Harden are brothers. Yeah, the king had another child known as, Loki. I never would have guessed that. Oh, I guess that never would have really come up. Interesting. Oh, no way. And he looks crucified. Is this Loki? Oh, he looks nothing like that silhouette we saw all that time back then. What the hell? The person chained down says, name yourself. And he's sticking his tongue out just like the dude's description says. And he says, I'm Luffy, the man who will be king of the pirates. The person says, king? Luffy says, where am I? And who are you? The giant says, this is Warland, Elbaph's kingdom of warriors. Oh, yep. Warland, the most powerful nation in the world, which once lived and breathed warfare. And I am the sun god who brings the world to an end, Loki. This is Elbaph. Oh, wait, we've seen Elbaph before, and those things that seem to be jutting down. We always thought maybe they were branches, but they were waterfalls from up above? Well, there's cannons on some of the branches, too. And a sword even more massive than anything else. And what is with these places and the massive swords? First on Nagashima, now this? So we finally get to see it in full. Elbaph, that's cool. Part of me wishes I had read this when it originally came out, but at the same time, I get the pleasure of just blitzing through chapter after chapter. It's so good. And you still have the other Straw Hats on the bridge saying, it's shaking! Oh, man, cool. Alright, chapter 1131, Loki in the Underworld. Ooh, that's an ominous title. You got Yamato heading off with Komichio, while Tama is riding on Speed, chasing after the sword. Ogre Child Yamato's Golden Harvest, Surrogate Pilgrimage Volume 18, after that sword thief. I wonder who's been stealing all this stuff. It has to be like a remnant of the Beast Pirates. I would only assume those are the only troublemakers I could think of. Meanwhile, Luffy shouts, "Oh yeah, I knew this was Elbaph. We've been waiting to get here for ages. Everything really is huge in Elbaph." Loki says, "Oh yeah? Good for you. By the way," Luffy then just interrupts saying, "I wonder if Usopp will figure it out when he gets up to there. What's on top of the tree?" Loki says, "Hey." Luffy interrupts again, saying, "The most powerful nation in the world lived and breathed warfare. Wow, that's wild. When I was on Dorian Brogy's ship, I'd never seen so many giants at once. It was really overwhelming." Loki says, "Hey." And then Luffy interrupts again, saying, "I can believe they're the most powerful." Loki says, "Hey, I'm talking to you." And it resonates throughout the forest, causing all of the animals to quiet. Yeah, he said he was the sun god. Oh my god, whoa. Loki, Elbaph the Cursed Prince Loki. Special government bounty, 2.6 billion. Jeebus. Special government bounty? What does that mean? Special government bounty. Loki says, "I am the sun god, enshrined in the legends of this land. You will not speak without my permission, human. Now answer me. What do you make of this situation?" Luffy says, "What do I make of it? That you're chained up?" Loki says, "Keenly surmised. But no man chooses to be chained, and I am no exception in this regard. I would rather be free. You know I've been here for 6 years." If you said 6 years. Oh, yeah, in the legends, Loki was bound, wasn't it, to the bottom of the world tree and made to have, what was it, venom of a serpent dripped into his eyes or something? Or was that another Loki? Or another figure entirely? Loki says, "I consider myself the strongest in all of Elbaph, but this tree is known as the Jewel Tree Atom." It is the tree. Oh, okay. Atom Wood, yeah. 30th wood in the world. You know, so much like people who can only a few people in Wano who can cross stuff out of the poneglyph stones. You only have so many people who are able to really damage to any degree atom wood. Yeah, what devil fruit did he end up getting though? This tree is known as the Jewel Tree Atom, which forms the very kingdom of Warland itself. The chains are sea prism stone. They rob me of my strength and keep me in prison. So I have a question for you, Rhodey. Luffy lounges on Loki's leg, saying it's Luffy. Loki says, "Do you want to make a deal? Luffy, you're a pirate, aren't you? If you should undo these chains that bind you, I'll offer to completely eliminate one rival pirate crew of your choosing. What do you say? The key should be somewhere in the village. Now, if you'd rather not, I won't force your hand." Luffy then hears something. Loki says, "Oh, but I didn't mention. This is the lowest plane of Elbaph, the underworld. Oh, this is hell." You know, I thought maybe we'd have like tiers of the tree that represented different parts of Norse mythology, but there's just a lower realm and an upper realm as far as I can tell. A place that no one dares venture into. Those judged to be criminals are dropped down here. This place is their prison and their execution yard. Wait, why does Road hang out down here then? Is it because people don't like them? Whoa. Those look like the same kinds of creatures that you would see in Strong World. Figures move out of the forest. As Loki says, "Dig into the snow around you. You'll find the bones of giant and man alike. These mountains have existed for tens of thousands of years. In our mythology, we call this the first world. A place where the sun is only a distant, dead memory, foolish you. I don't know what brought you to these snowy peaks, but you'd best be wary of the wild beasts. A great and deadly sentinel prowls each and every mountain, and since I was a lad, they've all been fast friends of me." Which says, "Ooh, this takes me back." Oh, is he thinking of, what was the place where he went to go train? I forget the name of it. Loki says, "So if you don't do as I say, they may not take kindly to it. Those other little ones are humans who chose to do battle with Elbaph. They wear stinking robes to turn away the ravenous beast. Yep, just like the, whatchamacallit, the roots thing, but they only delay the inevitable. They are corpses already." The men say, "Now that's really uncalled for, sir. Who is this guy? Can we rob him blind? Maybe he's got something. We don't want to get knocked unconscious like the last time." I mean, around here, you don't expect to run into red-haired Shanks of all people. Hey, Shank? They ran in... Oh, yeah, when Shanks was last visiting. Did he try to rob Shanks? Did he visit Loki? Meanwhile, Luffy is palling around with the beast, say, huh? Did you just... All the men say, are freaking out, as Luffy is just already fast friends with all the deadly beasts. Luffy saying, did you just say Shanks? The men say, we did, but this is really invalidating everything we thought we knew. Who is that guy? How did he tame the sentinels of the peaks? Loki says, what? Wait a second, who is that pipsqueak? Luffy rushes over to Loki saying, did Shanks really come here? Loki says, you know, red hair. And as Luffy is beaming, Loki grins and says, you mean that coward of a pirate? He certainly did. Is he trying to rile up Luffy? Oh my god. Luffy immediately goes into Gear 4 and swings on Loki. Loki manages to dodge, or maybe Luffy wasn't even trying to hit him, it's hard to say. But the punch goes past Loki's head to the mount. Oh, I guess it would be the tree behind him. The men in robes say, yeah, Prince Loki. Loki says, hey, wait, take it easy. I was only joking. Luffy transforms back saying, what? Don't say that, even as a joke. All the beasts around are immediately frightened. Loki shouts, I'm helpless here. I can't defend myself. So Loki thinks to himself, instant I get these chains off, I'm going to kill him. Loki walks over to Loki saying, then you better not make me mad. Next time you say something like that, I'll embed you into that tree. Loki says, you wouldn't dare, idiot. God damn. Luffy adjusts his Vikings hat back saying, and why was Shanks here? Why did he come to see you? That couldn't have been why he was here. Is he still in Elbaph? Loki says, he won't be getting those answers for nothing. Of course. I mean, he might not be the traditional Loki, but he loves to make deals like the usual depictions of Loki. I wonder if Tom Hiddleston's Loki had any influence on the depiction here, or just the Marvel Loki in general. Because the hat with the curved horns, I mean, that's kind of like, come on. Meanwhile, back on the bridge, Nami says, look out, it's really shaking. Usopp says, I'm gonna die. But then he pulls out some binoculars, looking down the bridge, saying, is that what I think it is? Puffer says, huh? You mean? Usopp says, yeah, someone's coming. I don't know who it is. But he looks all charred up. Oh yeah, because he got burned, like he got hit by lightning. Probably whoever was under the sun god mask. I think Chopper says. Usopp says, I knew it. And behind him is that female wearing the chubby one, and chasing him and carrying the Sunny. Nami says, the Sunny's there? What's going on? Zoro says, sounds like it's cutting time. There goes Zoro looking to cut up on the minority again. Usopp says, no, we might be the master's friends. There's only one thing to do. Look, the finish line is before us. We gotta run it out, sprint for all you're worth. Get to the Elbaph village that must be up there. If they catch up to us, we're goners. So they all take off. Oh, Hardin and Stenson. Oh, so it's the rest of his crew. We cut to the underworld in Warland. Hardin says, there we go. Took down that moose. Just in the nick of time. These beasts don't live in the upper forest, but their meat is exquisite. I can already see the excitement on the Straw Hat's face. Aw, he wanted to give him a feast. New giant pirates, Captain Hardin. Stenson says, but how will we carry this monster? New giant pirates shipwright Stenson. Can't use a painter. Those sunstones don't work when it's snowing. A painter? Hardin says, suck it up and be a man. This meat is for my savior. We then have narration. Hardin refresher. Back in Dressrosa, Hardin was caught in the wicked plot of Doflamingo, former warlord, and was nearly forgotten by the world until he was rescued by the Straw Hat crew. Now he is one of the 7 captains in the Straw Hat Grand Fleet. Hardin tends to go heave-ho, hefting up the giant moose. Hardin tells Stenson, see, we got this. And they start singing, we are the mighty warriors of Elbaph, the new giant pirate crew. And then we have a readout of the new giant pirates, of the self-proclaimed Straw Hat Fleet, a pirate crew of 5 younger giants from the generation after Dorian Brogy. Captain Hardin, Navigator Rodo, Shipwright Stenson, Dr. Gert, Cook Goldberg. We got the bangs back. I know somebody was probably pissed about that. She probably did it for Saul. We cut to the scene near Elbaph. Brooke says, "What do you think, Robin? I've never cut a woman's hair before. I was quite nervous about doing it. My heart would have been racing if I had one." Skull joke. Lola says, "You don't have a heart. So unscientific." While Bonnie, almost forgot she was there too, says, "You look really cute, Robin." Frankie says, "Haven't seen that look on you in ages." Kimber says, "That's stunning. Well done, Brooke." I thought it was Usopp who usually did the hair cutting. I guess Brooke knows it too. He is well traveled. Robin checks out her old do, I guess you could say, saying it's perfect. "Thank you, Brooke." Brooke says, "Happy to help." Brogy says, "Oh, so that's the look you had when you met Saul." Dory says, "Then he'll be especially happy to see it." Frankie says, "Oh man, I just know this reunion will have me ballin'." Oimo says, "That's the hairstyle we remember too, Robin." Robin feels the breeze through her hair. The people on the ship say, "The mists have cleared and land ahoy, prepare to moor. The island of giants is gigantic. You gotta have a toast when you get to harbor." Yeah! But in Elbaph, someone runs around saying, "Big trouble, big trouble. It's Dr. Saul. He's fallen and he won't get up." Better call Life Alert. Okay, what happened to Saul? He was definitely injured in the past. Maybe he has some kind of long-term situation going on? Alright, next chapter. Chapter 1132, An Adventure in Elbaph. Okay. Oh, they're building up that castle. Ogre Child Yamato's Golden Harvest, Surrogate Pilgrimage, Volume 19. Udon Castle under construction at the quarry. Oh, okay. I wonder who took over Udon. So Yamato and Tama and Speed have arrived. Oh, it's a little kid. As Dory and Brogy's ship arrive, the little kid who was talking to Shanks before, child of Elbaph Cullen, calls out, "It's the Great Eric! The giant pirates have arrived!" The barkeep, is it his mother, says, "Isn't that great? What took them so long?" Cullen comes running out saying, "Hey, captains, are you going to drink at the pub?" Brogy comes out and gives an X, and Cullen says, "Aw, oh no, they're going straight up. Straight up? Wait, how did they go up?" The barkeep says, "Oh, they are? That's smart if they've got guests with them. Once they start drinking, they'll be here for 3 whole days. If you're going up to the Sun World too." Sun World. Then I've got Ripley's favorite here, and a bit of Daddy's favorite too. Ripley? Who's Ripley? And is Cullen's dad someone important? Cullen says, "Do you know about the pirates that Captains Dory and Brogy are bringing here? He was just named one of the 4 emperors. Even Captain Redhair was talking about him." And Cullen remembers Shank's words, "Don't forget his name, Straw Hat Luffy." Cullen takes off, saying, "Okay, I'm off." Someone calls out, "Hey kid, tell the captains we'll deliver the snacks for their feast later." Cullen says, "Yeah, sure." Then Harden and Stenson arrive on the shore saying, "Look, it's the Great Eric. Time is perfect. The rainbow just touched down. Let's ride their coat." Is it a literal rainbow bridge? No way. Are they going to ascend a rainbow? They are. Oh my god. What? How does that work? On the giant ship, the Straw Hats call out, "A rainbow? It's so pretty. What a huge rainbow. I was wondering if it's raining on the other side." Brooke says, "I never felt a rainbow so close before." Bonnie says, "It's really bright and solid." Kimber says, "Are they supposed to be visible at this angle?" While Lilith says, "It's such a mysterious and beautiful sight every time I see it." And Brogy shows off some kind of cube saying, "Is it that wondrous to you? We draw them with these painters." That's a painter. Jinbei says, "Draw them? You mean you create that rainbow?" Brogy says, "But of course." Another giant says, "We're nearing the foot. Ready to go, captains?" What the? Brogy says, "Oops, you ought to grab onto us now." Tori says, "The ship's gonna go vertical." They say, "Huh?" Jinbei says, "Vertical, why?" But suddenly, ship is going vertical as they say, "Hey, wait! Oh, what's happening?" The giants say, "Time to go up. I guess we didn't explain this yet, did we? The Elbaph village are on top of that tree. So you go right up this rainbow to get there. We'll have a grand feast when we arrive." Frankie says, "No, not that part. Explain about the rainbow." Bonnie says, "What is the ship riding on?" Robin says, "Rainbows are caused by the refraction of light passing through raindrops." But Brogy says, "Blah, blah, blah, blah. What nonsense are you saying?" Well, Dorian Brogy says, "You can ride rainbows." Frankie says, "You can?" Yeah, sure enough. We are watching them ride on a rainbow. I have no words for this. Just ascending a rainbow. My God. The Straw Hats shout, we're really riding on it. Dory says, gah, 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 gah. It's a tailwind. Perfect rainbow sailing weather. Dory says there's no resistance to the flow. But once you've rowed a bit, the rainbow carries you the rest of the way. Jinbei says, I bet Luffy and the others will lose their minds when they see this. Brooke says, I think I've lost my mind already. Frankie says, yeah, me too. Ow. I can't do his little yow. Yow. Ow. Bonnie watches, saying, wow, it's like sailing on a sea of colors. Even the sparkles sound it makes is pretty. Freaking taking the rainbow road. Robin says, there are so many things still to learn about the world. And I think Brooke starts saying, time the ship brings his brew. You got Haruden and Stenson on a boat underneath. As Haruden says, hey, Captains Dory, Brogy, is Straw Hat there? Brogy says, oh, whose ship is that but Haruden and Stenson? Frankie calls out, ow, it's been a while, Haruden. Good to see you, bud. Haruden calls out, Cyborg. I see, so Straw Hat's coming a bit later. Stenson says, we hunted a moose just for him. Dory and Brogy said, moose is tasty stuff. I'm getting hungry already. Harden says, only if there's leftovers. This is for the Straw Hat crew. Brogy says, gah, gah. Oh no, I think it's Dory who says, gah, 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 gah. Fair enough. We cut to the rope bridge connecting the underworld and the sun world. Luffy comes right up next to Gerd and Goldberg, meeting them, saying, Sunny, hey, that's our ship. But Gerd and Goldberg are excited. Luffy lands in Gerd's hands. And she says, you must be Luffy. She thinks to herself, he's so cute. He tells him, I love you little humans, but I'm not like him. I'm not like that weirdo Rudo. I don't want to lock you up. I just want to be friends. Goldberg says, Gerd, that's really not the point right now. Gerd says, oh, sorry. Gerd says, I know all about you. You were brought here against your will. That was because of that weirdo No, against my will. Jeez. It's just nothing but hate for the guy. He says, I'm so sorry about that. Luffy says, you mean that bonehead guy? Goldberg says, you just flew up from the underworld. Did you fall down there? Luffy panics, saying, huh? And he remembers Loki's words. Don't tell anyone about our meeting or our little promise. You got that, Luffy? Luffy says, that is... Goldberg says, hey, it's too cold to be sweating that much. Don't worry about it, man. Gerd says, we're just glad you're all right. We cut to Elbaph Sunworld, 2nd level. Oh, Rhoda has found the Straw Hat, saying, now I found you at last. Come back to me, my perfect little live dolls. Nami and Chopper freak out as Rhoda dives for them, saying quick before everyone else finds out. I have to lock you up more securely than before. I can keep you for life. My ultra rare Nami and ultra rare Chopper do only for a tree that's cut down and put in its path by Zoro and Sanji to smack him in the face. Nami says, I don't believe it. Even animals wouldn't fall for that trap. Usopp says, oh geez, you overdid it, Zoro and Sanji. Zoro says, we can't get in trouble. We didn't touch him. Sanji says, let's get going. I want to see the land of giants. Orodo says, curse eat tiny humans. Only for Goldberg and Gerd to arrive. Gerd saying, there he is. Goldberg says, and the Straw Hat's here too. Rodo says, that sounds like my ultra rare Gerd. As she has come to rescue me. Only for both Goldberg and Gerd to smack him in the back of the head, saying, stop right there, Rodo, you freak. Jeez. Sanji says, wow, a giant babe. Zoro says, see, now the evidence of her attack is gone. Usopp says, good point. Well, Nami says, and she spots Luffy and calls out. Luffy says, hey, you guys. He jumps down from Gerd, saying, the Sunny's here too. Gerd kneels down to the Straw Hat, saying, hello there, you must be the Straw Hat crew. I'm Gerd, and this is Goldberg. We're Harden's friend. Goldberg says, I'm so sorry you had to go through that scary experience. Don't worry, we'll be escorting you from here. Sanji says, wow, so Gerd's gonna show us around? Zoro says, we didn't know what happened to us. Gerd says, oh, I'll explain and make him pay for it. So Luffy says, let's go, Usopp. The Elbaph village is supposed to be on this level. Usopp says, yeah, I can't wait to see it, as they're followed by Chopper. Gerd says, just go straight through those woods and you'll reach the clouds. Hitch a ride and you'll see the village. Gerd picks up everyone else, saying, let's go after them. As Luffy arrives, as well as the clouds, and he jumps. Usopp saying, wait, if they're not. But Luffy says, she said we could ride them. And he just jumps on the clouds and says, wow. Meanwhile, on the giant pirate ship. Brogy says, once we pass these clouds, you'll see it. Elbaph has 3 levels. Oh, okay. Astral, Sun, and Under. Starting from the top, it's the Astral World, Sun World, and Underworld. Interesting. Dory says, we live on the Sun World, where the sun's rays reach. There are a number of villages there. Robin says, it's too big to see all of it at once, but that's... Oh, no, I think that's Brogy saying it's too big to see all at once, but that's our village over there. Robin says, wow. Oh. And they say, welcome to Elbaph. The narration reads, to be in the presence of the Gargantuan is to know emotion. Who can possibly put this sight into words that convey its grandeur? Oh, I love it. Both Luffy and Usopp thinking back to it all those years ago. Usopp saying, you guys, someday I swear, I'm going to Elbaph, the village of warriors. Luffy says, alright Usopp, let's do it. Aw, they get to share this moment together. That's so beautiful. It really means a lot. Oh, they're all seeing it at the same time. Robin, Chopper, Frankie, even Zoro's taken aback. Bonnie, Jinbei, Nami, Brooke, Lilith, while Sanji's just nuzzling into Gurg's chest. The narration then reads, this is Elbaph land, the kingdom of Warland. This is Elbaph Island, the kingdom of Warland. But most simplify the matter by just using the name Elbaph for the land of the giant. See, there were some people who were just like, is Warland Elbaph? It's just like, yeah, no, I'm pretty sure it's just the same thing. Only for Luffy and Usopp to spot Dory and Brogy's ship, and they call it, oh, hey, Straw Hat. Brogy says, oh, Luffy's group is here. We've been looking for you. Luffy said, did you guys just get here? Glad we found you. It worked out in the end. But then Luffy, Usopp, and Chopper freak out, saying, what are you guys, riding on a rainbow? Oh, that rules. Let us on the ship. The narration that says, plants, trees, vines, flowers, insects, fish, birds, and animals. Everything is breathtakingly huge. Adventurers, do not regret your lost time here. However, if there is one message you can take away from my account of the gigantic and mythical land of Elbaph, let it be this word of warning. Do not overstay your welcome here. Luis Arnott, explore. Luis Arnott? Luis Arnott? Have we heard that name before? Oh, he's the person who... Oh, he's the one who wrote Bragman. And the story about Little Garden. Okay. Okay. That's wild to have him come back after all this time. Oh, that's cool. What a way to give grandeur to a place that we've been looking forward to visiting for so long. God, I remember watching the anime for Little Garden back in like 2006. Man, almost 2 decades to get to this point for me. Far out. Well, I think these chapters came out in 2024. Alright, on to the last chapter for this video. Alright, it's One Piece chapter 1133. Nice thing. And it's friggin' Hold'em once again kidnapping Tama. It looks like he burned Speed, kidnapped Tama. What the heck? It's Ogre Child Yamato's Golden Harvest, Surrogate Pilgrimage, Volume 20. Holden attacks. Drop your valuables. What a punk! Though you've been the one going around stealing stuff. Friggin' hell. Oh, you have a flashback. 22 years ago. Oh god. You have Spandini recounting it to the World Economic Journal, saying, seen in O'Hara? It chilled me to my spine. That was an atrocity. The evacuation ship packed with innocent civilians suddenly exploded, went down in flame. My dying day, I'll never forget the sounds of the screams that emerged from the fire. The journalists say, and Nico Robin did that? Spandini says, not only that, but several other battleships were also sunk. She's a demon in the body of an 8-year-old girl. The government won't go into detail about the story. The truth is so shocking and brutal that it will traumatize children. If you see her, don't approach. Just tell the authorities. But there's a criminal on this island, a woman says. I met her. She had the eyes of a killer. She's got the brain of a veteran scholar, but no human emotions to go with it. As we see Robin picking through the trash. Jeez. We hear men saying, look at the bounty. Grab your guns and let's hunt her down. Don't be fooled by appearances. Your mercy is wasted on her. She uses freakish sorcery. Catch her as quickly as you can. The woman says, I can't sleep at night knowing she's out there. The man says, I wish she'd just die already. Why can't the Navy hurry up and finish her off? She's a menace to the world. We see a young Robin hiding. Oh, jeez. You should even see her overlooking a cliff, but she remembers her mother's words. Live, Robin. And Robin choking back tears. Remembers Saul saying, listen carefully, Robin. You're all alone right now. But someday, without a doubt, you will meet friends. When it's unbearable, remember what I taught you. Just laugh like this. There, sheesh. And Robin says, overlooking a cliff she was about to jump off of. But Saul, I'm so scared. Everyone scares me. You see a young Robin trying to read, but someone grabs her saying, hey, what do you think you're? Then the rumor continues. I hear she travels from town to town, killing and robbing people. She lowers their defenses with her childish looks and slits their throats in the night. Ugh. It's insane. I wish she'd just die. Her breath deserves to be dead in some ditch somewhere. Just go away forever. As Robin does her best to laugh as she runs into the distance. But the present day, Elbaph in the New World. The Straw Hats say, huh? A port on top of a tree? Are we on the sea or cloud? But Dory says, ready to dock. This is the port of the Western Village. It's sea clouds. The people in the port say, welcome back, captains. You took so long we got worried. Brooke says, why, it's simply beggars the mind. Frankie says, everything is on a different scale. Robin says, what a grand sight. All Lilith and Bonnie cheer, saying, wow. Brogy says, and they're here too. Up above, Luffy and Usopp call out, Luffy saying, hey, you guys. Usopp says, look at this. Isn't it wild? Bonnie cheers. Well, Bonnie and Frankie freak out. Robin saying, wow, what is that? As we see, oh, Gerd rowing with clouds attached to oars? That's wild. They say it's a Savar, a mist ship that uses the buoyancy of island clouds to sail. It's all amazing. How is this place so amazing? I think it's Lilith saying the climate on Elbaph is simply perfect. Land clouds, sea clouds, bubbles, rainbows, hovering. It can support all of these things. And a lot of things we've seen before and a lot of things we've never seen. Arden says, Straw Hat, Usaland, and friends. I'm glad to see you here in Elbaph. Nami says, I knew you changed your hair, Robin. Robin laughs, saying, I see you've been getting into the Elbaph swing of things too. Luffy says, good to see you again, Hardin. Oh, they've crucified Rudo. As Hardin, Stenson, Gerd, and Goldberg all greet them. Hardin saying, I've heard tell of all your exploits. You're an Emperor of the Sea now. That's the fleet captain we all look up to. I'll give you the full introduction later, but for now, the four of us are the new giant pirates at your service. He's not including Rhoda. Gerd says, nice to meet you. I think it's Luffy who says, I said I didn't need you to follow me. And I think it's Hardin that says, who cares? We'll do it anyway. The news about how you beat Big Mom over in Wano made waves over here, and we never pay attention to the outside. Luffy says, Big Mom. Gerd says, I was friends with Lin Lin long ago, but she did something unforgivable in Elbaph. Yeah, they think he solely beat up Big Mom when he was the one who did it. It's wild that he gets the credit for that, too. They say, hey, you can catch up with them after a toast, Hardin. It's the other giants, or maybe Dory and Brogy saying, first, let's eat and drink. We got a whole mountain of food. Besides for us, gababa. Come into the pub. Luffy says, oh, food, I'm starving. Usopp says, yeah, I've been so amped up that I'm running on empty. But as they get ready to take off, Robin says, hey, Luffy, we cut to the southwest of the Western Village, where Gerd is taking them somewhere. Well, some of them somewhere. Robin says, I can go on my own. Luffy says, not gonna happen. Pepper says, I want to see this. Nami says, yeah, so do I. Jinbei says, I'm just seeing the sight. Laura says, me too. Gerd says, Dr. Saul wanted to show you the library, Robin. So we're taking you to the school below it. Robin says, thank you for guiding us there, Gerd. Gerd says, it's my pleasure. It's a long trip. Oh, yeah, you gotta speed up that reunion, you know? Oh, this is gonna look great animated. Luffy says, listen, Robin, the thing about being captain is you have to pay your respects to everyone who's helped out your crew. Robin says, what? Where did you learn that? Luffy says, it's the honorable thing to do, duh. I love how Robin's just always close to Bonnie. Bonnie gets to be in little code mode 24/7. Flashback to Brogy saying, oh, that's a good point. We can wait on the toast. Bring Saul back with you. Hardin says, in the meantime, I'll prepare that special mousse for you. Take your time, folks. In the present, Usopp says, warriors have to study hard too? I think it's Gerd who says, Dr. Saul mostly teaches classes on history on various books. Oh, that's a cool location. That's the Warrior Spring. Right by it is the Owl Library. Spring, it looks like a beach. Barrett says, yes, it's a sandy beach caused by part of the tree becoming fossilized and eroded. Oh, it doesn't have tides, but the waterfalls from the spring cause waves to lap on the shore. They say, it's an ocean. Luffy calls out, okay, let's go find them. Then we can take Saul back to the pub. Nami grabs him saying, stop, this is Robin's moment. While Robin breathes out saying, my heart is racing. A giant comes racing over saying, oh no. It's Dr. Saul. He's fallen and won't get up. And Luffy says, what? Are you kidding me? We just got here. Sanji says, we're coming for a reunion 22 years in the making, and this happens now? Chopper says, I'm a doctor. I'll handle this. Where's the patient? Usopp says, this is your time to shine, Chopper. We're counting on you. The woman says, he's over there. He just fell over, and it's like he's washed up on a beach. He's doing it on purpose. Are you kidding me? There's no goddamn way. There's no way he's doing this. Oh, God. He's such a drama queen. Robin laughs, saying, oh, you fool. They say, don't say that. The poor guy's sick. But Robin smiles, saying, it'll be fine. Let me go on my own. You all stay here. They say, huh? Kurt says, are you sure, Robin? They call out, Robin. Says, I got all nervous for nothing. He walks over to Saul, lying face down. He peeks up. He roars at her. Just like all that time ago. Oh my God, that. Oh, I'm so on the verge of tears with this. He says, "There, how's that? Did I shock you? What a shocker!" And that uncaring face he saw all that time ago with such a gentle smile on it. Saul gets up saying, "Robin, there, but you're not a kid anymore. Sorry, I wasn't sure how I should greet you." Robin says, "You still have that silly laugh." And we're reintroduced to Saul. Former Navy HQ Vice Admiral saved Robin's life. Saul picks up Robin saying, "Yep, still don't know how to laugh. Now let me get a good peek at you. Wow, look how lovely you are. You remind me of Olivia, just like her." Robin says, "Huh? Like my mother?" She says, blushing. "Aw, I swear, with this look and the haircut, it's like Robin de-aged like 20 years. Or at least 10 years. She ain't that old." Robin remembers Olivia's words saying, "We cannot give up on the future of the world. You will understand someday." Saul tells her, "Got her gentle eyes, Robin. Anyway, did you hear Vegapunk's message? I was there on the island, but I couldn't really..." Oh, Robin says, "I was there on the island, but I couldn't really make it out. I had to learn about it from the paper." Saul says, "Well, when he said, 'History is told by the winners,'" Saul says, "those words came from Mohar. If they were left to be buried in history, they would have vanished without being heard. Scholars of Ohara send out their voices, and Vegapunk's a scientist. He doesn't speak on good and evil, but he gave his life to pass those voices on. It's a huge step forward, made possible by Ohara and Vegapunk's sacrifice. I'm sure it means big change for the future." Ron says yes, and she touches Saul's scar, saying, "Your sacrifice too. Does it hurt?" Saul says, "Dear, bet you can't believe I made it, huh? Next thing I knew, I was drowning in the sea. I guess the flames of the island melted the ice and dropped me in. I didn't find out you were still alive until a bit later. And the things they were saying about you, oh, it makes me so mad." I'm trying real hard not to cry. Robin gives a nod and smiles, saying, "I don't want to talk about the bad things. Instead, Saul, I want to hear nice things about how I served. I want to hear nice things about how I survived." Saul laughs, "There she," and brings Robin in close, saying, "No kidding. Tiny child like you on the run from the entire world. Bless you for being alive, Robin. 22 whole years. Bless you for surviving. Oof, bless you for coming to see me." As Robin holds Saul, she thinks to herself, she thinks back to when she was little, saying, "Why do I have to live anyway? Mother, Professor Saul, I just want to die. I want to die." And so Robin, in present, begins to cry, saying, "I miss you so much, Saul." Saul says, "Dear, I miss you too." Usopp, Chopper, Nami, Sanji, Frankie, Brooke all turned away crying. And while Jinbei and Zoro are as stoic as ever, Luffy just smiles. This was a great series of chapters to get to read. It was, I believe, the last half of volume 111. And it was fun. kind of harken back to a lot of things and adventures with the first four Straw Hats: Luffy, Zoro, Nami, Usopp, five, Sanji, and then eventually got Chopper in. Just who knew Rodo was gonna be such a friggin' jerk. Just whole crew hates him. Like, oh man. He must be a really good navigator, though. I'm just really curious why he's like this. I was really wondering about the whole Lego thing. I thought maybe it was an ability or something special. Like, no, it's just easy to build on. And, man, he'd be hated even more because so many people like Luffy because they think he defeated Big Mom. Which, man, that's a bummer. Because I wonder what it would have changed if Dory and Brogy knew that Eustace was part of the team who took down Big Mom. Actually, that's actually a good reason for maybe Eustace to have been saved, potentially? I don't know. Maybe they've spared him a little. It's just like, hey, you pointed a weapon at our land, you go down, but we'll help you out just because of what you did to Big Mom. And the encounter with Loki. What kind of deal did they make? Loki is a tricksy one. It's good to see that no matter what, Loki in any form is still a bit of a schemer. I gotta believe that those horns that he has on his head are definitely inspired by the Loki from the Marvel series. Gotta be. Because I don't think that's a regular reference to any other form of Loki. Because in actual Norse mythology, I don't think Vikings didn't actually have horned helmets from what I know. And I wonder what devil fruit he got. What kind of power could he possibly have? And to have killed his father for that. And knowing that Haruden is a prince. Brother of Loki. Haruden actually being that much more important too is interesting. Not a bad direction to take things. But man, Elbaph. It's actually even more impressive than I ever would have expected, just because of the incredibly interesting environment. I am so ready to see so much more of this, and the reuniting of Robin and Saul, beautiful, pitch perfect, beautiful, just everything you could have hoped for, just good stuff, good stuff. Man, I got so much out of that. Well, if you made it this far, I want to say thank you for checking out my reaction. I don't expect a lot of views to this because One Piece has never been the most popular thing on my channel, but either way, I enjoy it and I hope you did too. So let me know your thoughts on these chapters in the comment section below. Like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the ride. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din, and I hope to see you in the next one. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.